Hello and welcome to episode 9 of TBH with Wooly. Jake's not here today. Doing something a little unorthodox. We've got a very good friend of mine, known each other for a long time. He doesn't live in Mackay, unfortunately, anymore, but that doesn't mean that the podcast can't happen. So I'd like to introduce my good friend Reece to TBH. How you doing, buddy?
Wooly, good to talk to you as always, mate.
Yeah, mate. Long time no talk.
It was only,
It's only
10 hours ago.
Nah, mate, much appreciated. We've been talking about this for a long time, but it's good to.
I think actually even last year, before we even started the podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we had you lined up for like one of the first ones, but
yeah, it's been a series of unfortunate events since that. Maybe it's a curse.
Oh yeah, but no, very happy to have you here, mate. Especially for episode 9. Don't know why 9 in particular, but I was going to save number 9. Next week I'm bringing out a little private one of why I got sober, which is will be on the 9th of June. Will be 1 year.
Yeah, right.
But
good.
It can be number 10, so it doesn't matter.
All the cafes around Mackay have been pretty ecstatic since you went sober, I imagine.
Oh, mate, coffee. Fucking know.
Brazil's economy has improved a lot since you've been going.
Yeah, everyone's just seen a dip except for Brazil. Mate, I was super keen to get you on, man. Just you're probably one of the only mates that have moved away that I've sort of stayed in touch with. Barring a few exceptions, but so it'd be good to get your input on men's mental health and dealing with it from afar. I guess you're still very much in contact with a lot of people from Mackay, so which I really like about you. So basically, man, like what made you move? Like, why did you move away? Why'd you leave me?
I think a few people probably say the exact same thing. I suppose I was never planning on staying in Mackay for too long after, what was it? So I was in Mackay for my gap year, went to Townsville for uni, moved back from Townsville back to Mackay, was there for about 3.5 years, I think. And what happened? I suppose I was always planning on moving away from Mackay. I probably went a bit earlier than what I wanted to move away, but that's another story, and have absolutely no regrets doing that.
Good stuff, man. No, it's good. Like, I know you'd always talked about moving away, but then you'd been back for so long, so I sort of thought, oh, maybe he's changed his mind, and I've seen how good it's been for you, man. So yeah, I've got no doubt in my mind that it was a good move, and to hear you say that you've got no regrets about it is just, it's unreal. And catching up, it's always good seeing you. You're always that guy that I feel like we've always had that sort of, I don't know, understanding between us, even like during school. I just felt like you were one of those guys that we sort of always understood me, and we never stood on each other's toes at any stage that I can remember.
No way. And that's probably more because you weren't drunk uptown at 3 a.m. in the morning when everything gets aggressive. No, I think, most definitely. I think, me and you have been always pretty cruisy. We always understand each other. I don't think we've ever really fought about anything, to be honest.
I remember one time walking home to the gym where I threw a few berries at you.
Triggering the PTSD, mate.
Podcast over. That's it. It's a wrap.
It's like little rubber pellets just bloody getting flogged at you non-stop. Just want a nice peaceful walk to the gym.
I fully agree, man. I don't feel like we've always had that understanding, and like kind of find that we're pretty similar in ways too, like what we tolerate and boundaries and all that sort of stuff. But what's life like in Brisbane at the moment, dude, with the COVID-19? Because I feel like up here we're in a bit of a bubble. So what's your thoughts on what's life in Brisbane like at the moment?
Yeah, I suppose I'll probably start from when it first hit. Like when when everything started getting announced, because I travel into the CBD every morning on the train. So when everything first got announced and everything was kind of steamrolling, I suppose the anxiety levels were pretty high because, nobody had been asked to work from home yet, and none of the restrictions had actually been in place yet. So when it first happened, you'd be on the train and, people might have a slight cough next to you, or people just wouldn't be covering their mouth, and bloody hell, like it would just burr you up, and you'd just be constantly worried, would this person have it? Would that person have it? And like, even the lead up to everything closing down, I think, I was going out most weekends as well, which wasn't very normal for me, but picked the wrong time to go out all the time. But, you'd go out and you'd see everyone touching the walls or the toilet, like the bathrooms and stuff. And you'd be like, oh, fuck, did somebody else touch this that had it? So you're constantly thinking about it.
Yeah, it's constantly on your mind, and you're exposed to it a lot more.
Yeah, and I remember feeling a bit aggressive, not aggressive, but like I was just feeling a bit ill towards my employers because, we're accountants, so we can typically do our job from anywhere, but at the same time, whether we do the job well from anywhere is a different question.
Yeah, sure. That was that's probably their worry, I guess, was like, we can send everyone home, but are we going to get the same workload out of it?
Yeah, and it's honestly never been busier since everything hit because of all the government incentives that got announced. Everyone was calling up, and it was a pretty emotional time because everyone, the businesses would call up and they'll be talking to my boss, and I would talk to him afterwards and be like, yeah, this person doesn't think they can make it through coronavirus. Like, wow. So, people were just, I suppose emotions were pretty quiet. They were pretty high at the time. So, but it was kind of sad, like it was satisfying as well, because if you could help out any of those clients by getting them through, getting all the applications through, get them some money to keep them going, that was kind of worth the stress at the time.
Yeah, sure. Do you think it's gonna, obviously it's sort of changed, like how the economy is gonna, operate moving forwards? Do you think it'll have a massive impact on you, like your business and how you operate, moving forward into the future?
I think at the start, like, and this is what's really funny, like when all the restrictions went into place and then everyone's like started working from home, like the CBD was an absolute ghost town. So I actually felt safer going into the city when everything started closing down because nobody was around. So I'd be catching a train carriage, which would normally have, 100 plus people on just that one carriage. And I went down to sitting down near like 3 people that I could actually see. So I never felt at risk then. But like going on to businesses, like I think the partners were definitely suffering a bit of stress, wondering, hey, will people be able to pay? Not that that's their first concern. Like their first concern is helping out the client. But
yeah, of course,
if you're spending all that time helping out people, will they make it through it? Being in Brisbane now, like I used to work on Mackay clients when I lived in Mackay. Working on Brisbane clients, they've seemed to be gone quite well.
Yeah.
We've only got a couple of retail and hospitality clients who work in that industry. So
sure.
The majority weren't affected.
Do you think there's going to be a shift in like retail and stores like that? Like I kind of see that, shopping centers are almost going to be a thing of the past in the next 20 years, with the move to everything online. Is that sort of being reflected with COVID-19? Like people are looking to make a shift in that sort of direction?
Well, it's funny you say that because like, outside of my job, like I do a bit of reading on businesses and shopping centers. What they've been trying to do over the past few years is try and make shopping centers a one-stop shop for everything. So, all your entertainment needs, all your shopping needs, all your eating, like all that, everything they're trying to put into one place. But now that this is rocked up, like I think without a doubt things will change.
Yeah.
And like who wants to go somewhere where it's packed to the hell? And if coronavirus keeps spreading around, but not even coronavirus, just I think people in general will change. They don't want to be around a lot of people.
Yeah.
And online shopping, like I'm probably the biggest advocate for online shopping. I love jumping on and buying a million things and then rocking it all up my door. And I reckon shops will realize that, do they really need a shop front?
Yeah. Why pay 80 grand rent a year for a little storefront when you can have it all, go rent a little shed somewhere and for half the price and
a little warehouse.
Yeah. Like if it's small enough, you can even just have the stuff at home. It
Yeah, absolutely.
just seems like a total well, not a waste of space, I guess, because I guess the scary thing is that people might feel they're going to lose that sense of community. You know, if everyone's just hanging around at home, where's that community? But I mean, you only got to go just driving around, and I've never seen more people in parks and playgrounds and all that sort of stuff now. So I think it's really woken people up.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because
shifted, yeah.
I wouldn't have it's funny because I wouldn't have imagined Mackay like actually physically being hit by the coronavirus. They were just hit by restrictions. Whereas Brisbane, you had a bit of the both. And people that you see out, going for a walk with their kids or just with their partner, and was like, I would have never seen them in my life because I, walk to and from work every day.
Yeah.
And then you see people not to and from work, to and from the train station, but you start seeing people that you never saw the last 3 years, and like, bloody hell, people really taking advantage, or they're getting real stir crazy sitting at home. So
yeah.
I think, without a doubt, I think people are taking advantage of actually going outside for once.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I was at the shops today buying a few things, and the amount of people that were getting food and just sitting outside along the river, it was you'd never see that because the tables inside, you obviously can't sit at them at the moment, but it kind of, I don't know, warmed my heart a little bit just to see people enjoying the outdoors that or people that generally wouldn't even think to do that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some positives to take away from everything that's happening, and yeah, you know what I'm like. I try to look on the brighter side of life, but
yeah,
it's so good
most
to see.
definitely. I think the only thing that really griped me about, and it's kind of selfish in a way, but people that would, before the restrictions actually allowed you, to sit out in groups and all that kind of thing, like I'd be walking to work because essentially the rules were if you could still go to work, then go to work. So I'll be walking to work in the morning, and I pass like 2 cafes on the way, and then there's just one cafe, and it's always packed. And when the restrictions hit, instead of everyone sitting down, everyone's just like littered over the footpath. I'm like, if you guys are the reason why I'm going to still be attending work in the CBD in a ghost town, yeah, it just used to really stir me up. But then at the same time, like, I'd calm down about it and be like, just be happy for them that they can go outside and they can enjoy it a bit rather than being cooped up at home. Because you can just see it, like, you got the older people that would all meet up with their mates, grab their morning coffee, then sit around in these little benches,
Yeah,
rather than the cafe tables. So
I think a lot of people.
There's a bit of a love-hate relationship with me, to be honest.
It's fair enough. And how is it going? Like, because you do visit back up here fairly regularly, and what's it like not having that option? Because I'm the same. I'm not a big traveler, but when someone says that you can't do it, even if I wasn't going to, but they say like, oh no, you can't travel anymore, that really gets on my nerves a bit. So how are you coping, not being able to see your parents and go visit a friend?
Yeah, it's kind of funny, and it's actually funny you say that because I think the last time I was in Mackay was for Jake's engagement party, and
yeah, right before it, like a couple of weeks before it all happened, yeah.
And it was me and Timmy, and we both arrived, and we're both like, oh, if anyone's going to bring coronavirus to Mackay, it's going to be us two. But
yeah,
it's kind of sad to think that was because obviously a lot of things changed with me this year, but I had 2 plans. One was to visit Mackay a lot more often and bigger trips because I haven't been able to catch off as many people as I want every time I come back because there's always something on. And then on top of that, I was planning a big overseas trip at the end of the year, and both of them got shafted. So, and because I've been wanting to travel for ages, but I never had the money behind me. And
of course,
who knew coronavirus would be the reason that I would actually have money for once in my life? And, I can't even spend it on traveling. Yeah. So, yeah, I know it's definitely hard, and and it's hard for my parents too because they can't come down. They wanted to do more Brisbane trips, and last Sunday, my auntie actually passed away because she was
shit, dude. Sorry,
she was not doing well, and she passed away. And what's happened is my mum, who, you know, she was planning lots of stuff. She wanted to go down in Christmas time for her birthday. And she can't even really fly, can't even plan a trip down to go to the funeral. But I think one positive to come out of it is they're now doing like a web stream of the whole proceedings, the church or whoever's organizing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, you don't realize how much it sucks to not be able to travel around until something like that happens, or, you know, you can't even visit, you know, the rest of your family.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man. I think, everyone's plans have been stuffed around a lot, hey, but, you know, you start throwing deaths or, you know, weddings or, you know, just anything out of the blue, and it just hits you for six, I guess. You just...
Oh, if I was having a wedding, I'll tell you what, I'd be stoked, because you can spend less money now. To have to pay for everyone to get full tummies and get drunk.
Well, that's it. His uncle had one yesterday, and there was about 8 or 10 people, so it was perfect.
Right.
They just had it at home, and that's kind of my, like, you know, wet dream wedding, I guess, is just something real small and intimate, and you know, if it's too flashy and big, it kind of takes away from from what it's all about in my books.
No, I agree with you as well. I reckon, you know, it kind of works in people's favor, because I think things like weddings, people have a big wedding for other people, not really for themselves. So
yeah,
that's up to their choice. But
I've been to a few weddings where the bride and groom are the unhappiest people on the day, and you just look at it and go, like, what are you doing with yourself? You know, this person can't sit with this person, and like this person's fighting, and it's like, oh man, freaking hell.
Yeah, I'm a pretty patient person, but you know, something like that, I can't cope with it. I just crumble under stress.
Fly off the handle, eh?
Cool. Just end the wedding straight after the ceremony. Just go home and go for a little nanny nap.
Oh, it's good, man. Well, hopefully when everything calms down, you know, it'll be good to have you up here a bit often. And, you know, I guess the shoe's on the other foot too. Like a lot of us, we don't often come down to Brisbane, so there's probably going to be a bit more of that on the cards. I loved it when I was working overseas. I was getting to see you like every 6 weeks or whenever it was.
Yeah, that was great. It was
so good,
awesome,
man.
You could do that. Catch up for a little feed. The casino allowed us with thongs on. That used to happen as well.
Oh yeah. Okay. Whatever money was left over, I'd blow it on the casino to go to work, make some more money.
There definitely wasn't much money before you went out to work, that's for sure.
That was good, man. It was little stuff like that, you know, like really, I guess, the cement. I mean, this friendship was always cemented, but just stuff like that just reinforces like why I like you so much and why we get along so much, because the extra effort's always there. Or it's probably not even effort really. It's just like, everything just seems to sort of operate smoothly.
Yeah, I think it's two things as well. Like, because I'm the kind of person who doesn't crave much attention or anything like that. So I can go, you know, months, a year without talking to someone. But if I see him face to face, or, you know, wherever, if we just random message on Messenger, you know, have a good catch up. But I never hold it against anyone if I don't hear from them for ages, because I'm usually that person that they wouldn't hear from for ages.
Sure.
And I think we're pretty lucky, like me and you, and, you know, Rambo, Zach, Jake, and, you know, Jake sometimes, Timmy sometimes, where, you know, we play video games, so we're normally having a chat now and again anyway, pretty regularly. Yeah,
that's not for sure, man. What's it, you know, we'll sort of swing it back around on the mental health side of things. How have you got like a good group of people down there that you can talk to one-on-one, or is that the sort of stuff that you sort of deal with like in your own time, or, you know, how do you sort of go about, you know, if you got something wrong or something's not going your way, what's your plan? Yeah. What's your plan of attack?
Yeah, I suppose I've never really, I don't want to say I've never struggled with like mental health or anything, but definitely had some pretty emotional and stressful times. But normally I just kind of work through it. Down in Brisbane, you know, I have a handful of friends that I can speak to. You know, I'm living with Kale now, so that's good as well. And my boss, we're pretty close as well, and we're pretty similar people compared to Mackay, where, you know, we've had a pretty big group of friends, you know, from high school all the way through after high school. You know, you always have someone ready. But like I said, I'm not I don't crave attention or need much attention. I feel like I do pretty well with dealing with my stress half the time.
Yeah. You're
Usually
always that good person to talk to too, that, you know, you've normally got a impartial sort of view on things. Like, you won't take sides in a, you know, even if I come to you like, oh, you know, oh, this person's been doing this to me, doing this, you always play both sides of the fence, which I really like as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because like not a lot of people like that either. They don't like it when you don't take a side. They would rather have you just back them 100%. But
Yeah.
you know, I'll never stop being that person where I try to see two sides of a story. Because I know, like, you know, things happen to me and I might tell someone and they're just like, they say something back to me and to me it just sounds really aggressive. I'm like, no, I don't really. That's why, not to sound like an asshole, but
Yeah.
that's why half the time I don't like advice, because people just try and tell you what you want to think rather than
just butter up your side of the story to prop you up, make you feel good in the short term.
Yeah, and I'm not a savage person in the slightest. Well,
nah.
Allegedly.
I mean, yeah. Nah, it's good, man. Keep doing you. Hey, it's a rare thing, you know. I've said lately, speak the truth, even if your voice breaks. It, you know, you get further in the long run. You know, you might upset some people in the short term, but if it's what they need to hear, then eventually it'll come back around to realization that that is what they needed to hear.
Yeah, and I think, you know, some people don't appreciate that kind of, you know, not advice, but just talking to someone like that sometimes. That's why I like to just be a bit of an ear to listen to. But people who, if you do provide some advice and it is pretty, you know, Switzerland, normally, you know, down the track, they're a bit more thankful for that, or they might see your point of view or whatever. So
yeah,
that's what I mean. I'll never stop.
Yeah,
stop
you need the full picture sometimes to if you're gonna offer true advice. There's no point going in with half a story behind you.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's it. You don't want to start fighting wars when you realise that the side that you're on is probably you haven't been told the full story about it. Gets hairy really fast, and you make a lot more enemies.
So where do you see yourself in like 5 years, man? Like, are you enjoying the accounting? I feel like every time I talk to you, you're always like you're studying to be the next big thing. So I feel like, you know, what's next? You know, like international man of mystery banker, or like what's the story, dude?
I actually own a chain of accounting firms these days. So I haven't told you. Nah, I actually just had my my annual appraisal, which is like the you know, your annual review of how you went for the past year, and every year they ask you what's your next 5-year plan, what's your plan next year, what's your plan 3 years from now, and you know, I can never give them a straight answer. I don't want to know, and you know, how old am I now? 28. So, you know, that's in my 30s. Who knows? Have a midlife crisis. But what I try and do, and I withdrew from study this half of the year, but I'm going to go back into it just because too much stuff was happening.
Yeah. Is that for your MBA? Is it?
It's for, I was going to do MBA,
yeah.
But I ended up doing this other thing, which is I'm doing this other thing through Kaplan Applied Finance, which it specializes in corporate finance, and then from there it goes back onto my CA study.
Yep.
So I've already done CA, but you can do specializations of CA, which is like business valuations and stuff. So, you know, I never want to stop learning something. It doesn't necessarily have to be accounting, but
yeah, sure.
I'm just going to keep ticking away at this, and plus I get a tax deduction on it, so that's probably the main reason. There's little accounting advice.
Oh yeah. What would be your biggest advice to everyone out there? You know, if you're, especially during this sort of time, is it a wise time to invest money in I don't know, shares or property, or like what's the go? Is COVID-19 a factor that should be taken into consideration before, you know, doing stuff with your money?
It is like, I'll say first, I can't give financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor.
Sure.
But it's funny you say that because you probably know that I always look at shares. Like, I've been doing it for years, but I've never had money to do it.
Yeah.
I've finally invested money only because I've come into money the last few months.
Nice.
So I've been able to invest shares myself. Now, it's funny you say that though, because I think when everything crashed back in March, Sam, he messaged me and he said, "Oh, would it be a good time to invest?" And I said, "Look, I really don't know, because this thing could snowball completely."
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because one company he was talking about was Afterpay, which is like, I used to follow Afterpay when it was like $1, and then it became like $40, but it crashed down to, I think it was $8. And that's when Sam messaged me and I said, "Look, I don't think it's a good idea, because, you know, people can't buy flights, people aren't going to be buying clothes because they can't go out."
Yeah.
Anyway, like, fast forward 2 months, Afterpay is sitting at like $50.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I hate giving investment advice, or not investment advice, but just like little tips here and there, because you just never know. You can't tell what a market's going to do. You know, property is a massive thing. Like, I think that's gone down a bit, but I think the biggest thing for Australia will be like, I think 3 months, it should be 3 months from now, when things like job seeker, or not even job seeker, I think job seeker now you actually have to look for jobs, whereas you could get job seeker and not have to do anything. So you're getting $1,100 a fortnight for free.
Yeah.
But job keeper, which is the thing that businesses get money and they pass it on to their employees, whether they're working or not, that's going to end in 4 months. And then you got all these loans that people aren't paying, but they got given a grace period for 6 months. They're going to have to start paying the loans again. So, you know, 4 months time, if people still have jobs to pay their loans, I don't think much will happen with property. But like, if people can't repay their loans and all of a sudden the banks are crawling after to get their money, it could be pretty interesting. But, you know, you just can't tell. You can't tell. Like, is Australia going to get a second wave of COVID? Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah, no,
I think
some good points there. I'm definitely, I mean, I've always been pretty frugal with my money at the best of times, but especially more now. I think holding on to it and waiting and seeing what's going to happen, and make a decision from there.
Yeah, definitely.
That'll be the best play. Yeah, it's interesting. Like this, I mean, there's always seems to be something that the share market, or like a reason for the share market to crash. Like if it wasn't COVID-19, and it'd be a friggin' asteroid hitting the Earth or something like this. Seems like the most volatile thing on the friggin' planet.
It's funny because, like, even before COVID-19 came out, I think everything was, look, people probably wouldn't look at it as much as me, obviously, but if you look back at the GFC, how sharply everything was going up before it all crashed, it was pretty much doing the exact same thing before COVID hit. It was going up so sharply. So whether COVID was hitting or not, I think things would have finally corrected itself.
Okay,
but I think share market is pretty much just people will pay what they want to pay. Like, they can set the price. So, you know, if people want to buy for however much, it's going to be that much. Whether that company is worth it or not is a different story, I think. Yeah,
so COVID-19 sort of just tipped it over the edge a bit quicker than expected.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think some people won't. I think some won't come out of it alive. But yeah, I don't know. The market is, you know, people like me and you, if we're investing, there's people higher up who research every second of every day into these things, and they get paid well to do it.
Yeah.
They would have known the answer 1 month before the rest of us. That's always the scary thing.
It's good, man. There was a few other things I forget to ask you, but as per usual, I'm pretty unprepared and pretty lackadaisical about everything.
And hence why I was a bit nervous coming into it. I was like, "Oh, is it going to be agenda? What's going to happen?
Is he prepared?" Here's one thing. Like people like yourself that moving away, you know, I get a bit of a kick out of it. You know, people like leaving places like Mackay for like the wrong reasons, I guess. You know, just thinking that moving away is gonna, you know, solve all their problems, and you know, then 3 months later you see them coming back into town and stuff like that. So I mean, I never thought that was going to be you by any stretch of the imagination, but you must see it all the time. You know, people move and then come back, and then move and come back, and what is it about the big city that like attracts people? Is there really just that much more to do, or like better quality of life, or what's the go?
don't know. Like, I think the funny thing is, like, I love Mackay. And I love what Mackay you can do as well. Like, you go camping, you go fishing. Um, you can go around. All your mates are close. You know, typically, everyone's working pretty similar shifts, unless they work out of the mines. Then you work around their rosters to catch up with them.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I never moved out of Mackay because I didn't like being in Mackay.
Yeah.
It's just because I knew I just wanted to be. I want to keep being somewhere different.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's when you said, "What am I going to do for the next 5 years?" I
You don't
no
know.
idea. I don't even know if I'll be in Brisbane. Probably bloody be over in Denmark or something. Go join my Viking ancestors.
Yeah, there might be some gypsy blood in you, mate. You like moving around that much?
No, but Brisbane, I think it's like, this is where I was going with Mackay. So like, I think the town or the city that you're in is really what you make out of it. Like, I don't do that much in Brisbane.
Yeah.
I'm probably not the most go out and, you know, get amongst it type of person. I think if someone invites me, and normally I put my hand up.
Yeah.
Majority of the time.
Yeah, sure. But you're not
If I have
initiating
money
big.
behind me as well. But you know, if you and in Brisbane as well, like, everyone thinks, oh, it's the big smoke. But I've always lived. I actually haven't lived. I live like 10, 15 minutes out of the CBD since I've lived here. Around the same area, like Ashgrove, Gaithel, Mitchelton. So I'm always a short way away from the city. But the area that I live in, it's pretty much it's almost like living in Mackay. Like, it's pretty suburban.
Yeah.
Your streets, you know, quiet streets. They're not all hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
You're not surrounded by a million people.
Yeah, you don't feel like you're in a big city.
No way. But you've got the city within reach. So that's
sure.
always, you know, that's what I think. That's one thing I like about Brisbane. I think if I lived in Sydney or Melbourne, it might be a different story. You know, taking the move from Mackay to Sydney.
Oh man, Melbourne's crazy. I can't speak for Sydney, but Melbourne, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've heard. I haven't been to Melbourne. Oh, and I went to Melbourne kind of recently. Actually, yeah. Last time I was in Melbourne was last year.
Yeah.
For my grandpa's funeral. And like, getting from the airport out to where they were.
Oh, it's
It's
ridiculous.
like a 50-minute Uber or something. Like, it's bloody crazy.
Yeah.
And that's with non-stop.
Yeah.
That's taking highways. That's like no traffic. They don't have the airport train or anything running after 12 o'clock. I'm like, how is this a thing? Like, being a big city, you would imagine that everything would be running constantly, but
yeah, it's very much an afterthought.
Yeah.
Very much.
No, but like, honestly, I like living in Brisbane because you have the opportunity to, you know, go to Gold Coast, go to Sunshine Coast, go to the hinterlands for both of them, you know, go down to northern New South Wales. Like, everything's a bit of a drive away, but it's no different from Mackay. If you go up to Ellie Beach, which we used to do a little bit, we'll go to Kinchin Dam. Like, Brisbane's no different. You go for a half an hour drive, and you're in the middle of massive greenery or a nice big beach. Like, so there's plenty of to offer down here as well, without feeling like you're confined to an apartment building or something like that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's true, man. It's I guess we're so lucky in a way that we've got all this technology today that keeps us so well connected, you know, like you can be on the other side of the planet and still feel like, you know, you can have a relationship with people.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And
which is kind of funny. That's probably why I don't feel the effects of restriction, because my life hasn't really changed that much.
Yeah, we all joked about it too. All the mates up here. It's just like, oh, so how's it affected you? It's like, well, not a whole lot really. Like, I don't go and buy useless shit that I don't need anymore. That's the main thing.
Go to work, come home, watch some Netty, play some games, go back to work again. Weekend hits, might go for a drive somewhere. Go for a little forest walk or something, but nothing really changes. The only thing that really changed is, I think there's been 2 occasions. I think when the restrictions were just about to hit and you couldn't have anyone over your house.
Yeah.
I think we had like a 10-person drinks for Southie and Clara, because they were going back to Germany at the time, but they obviously couldn't make it. And then the cops rocked up at like before 11 o'clock from memory. And they were like, yeah, if this was happening, you know, a week from now, you'd all be getting fined $1,300. So that was pretty much the last supper for a fair while until restrictions lifted a bit. And then last weekend we had going away drinks as well again. And then a bunch of cops rocked up again around the side gate. And then they were all freaked out because they were all not freaked out. They actually handled it really well, but obviously they're all backpackers, so they're just like a bit shook that, oh shit, there's coppers here. Then I think it was myself and there was another Australian there, and we're just like kind of just staring. It's like, okay, well, they'll be gone in a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's changed. The cops actually rock up now.
This is
because they're required to.
They're probably bored, man. They've got, I mean, like we got a few copper mates, and the crime rate's never been lower. They reckon it's because there's no people going out getting drunk and behaving like a pack of dickheads.
The worst thing is when the restrictions first started hitting, I said to them, I'm just like, oh, so what are you guys doing about all the restrictions? How you're only allowed like one person over their house? And they're just like, oh, is that the rule? They didn't even know what the restrictions were at the time. But it's funny though, like when you're saying they're bored, when they came over last weekend, they're just like, oh, can you turn off the music? So we turn off the music, then there's an apartment building at the back of the house, and you hear all these people, this massive party going on in this apartment building, and then the cops just like shine the torch straight up there, and they're all yelling down at them, not realizing they're coppers.
Oh no.
And the coppers are like, we're coming up there next. And they thought they were just us at the party. And then one of the guys up at the apartment building was just like, we're in isolation. And they're just like playing bangers and just being loud as fuck. So I think the coppers are like, all right, this place is boring. We're going to the next place and we're going to have some fun there.
I just picture like Super Troopers where they like come in and like start doing keg stands and like and shit like that.
If only, I reckon if everyone didn't have a camera phone, I think things would be a lot different with some of how serious or how not serious they have to be sometimes. It's like when I think about when we went to school and the amount of shit that went on, and then like you fast forward 2 years, like I think we barely had MySpace back then. We definitely didn't have Snapchat. And then 2 years later, there's all these news articles about like, oh wow, this is all the stuff that's happening at school. It's absolute madness, and it's like everyone.
Mate, it's been like that who's already been to school years.
Like, yeah, it's been like that every year. It's just nobody could film it before, so they never had the evidence behind it.
Oh, I mean, what we have our little Vodafone flip phones that could probably film in like 320p max.
Yeah, you see 4 pixels just doing something.
You see like a blur and like heaps of laughing, and then your phone would probably die before you could even finish.
You wouldn't be able to send the video to anyone. You try to send it in text, you'd be like, nah, sorry, you can only send text messages.
Your text message size is like kilobytes.
Yeah. Just get the audio out of it.
Man, it's crazy to just in what 10, or let's just say 10 years, how far things have come, and it makes me super excited to what the future's going to bring. And, especially with stuff like Elon Musk's Neuralink. I don't know if you've looked into that a whole lot.
What is it, Neuralink?
Yeah, Neuralink.
Oh, Neuralink. Yeah. I haven't heard Elon Musk's thing, but I've heard about it before, though, like just the concept of it.
Yeah, I'm so excited, man. And he goes, it's just this big technology wave, and you're either going to ride it or, get left in the dust, I think.
Yeah, I'm really weird with it. Like I love technology, and I'll be the first person to put my hand up for technology, but certain things I'm just like, oh, not too sure about it. Things like Neuralink, I don't know how Elon Musk is planning it, but the ones that I was reading, like they were talking about like having like brain chips and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh, a bit. I don't know, but like I always have this saying that if you're not doing anything wrong, then what do you have to worry about? Like, how people are just like, for an example, they're just like, oh, fuck the cops or whatever, something like that. And I'm just like, why are you so aggressive to people? If you're not doing anything, then what are you worried about? Or, when Facebook was having privacy issues, everyone's getting all paranoid. I'm just like, I don't think people care about one person in Australia talking about what they're going to do on the weekend.
Nah.
I think they're more worried about, if anything, is people smuggling drugs or, kidnapping people or serial killers or some crap like that.
Yeah, sure, man. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a line to draw, because I think it's the initial thought is that it's just going to help people with disabilities. If you're blind, it might give you sight, or if you're, you got a broken back, it'll. I don't know how it's going to work, but that's the sort of line of thinking. But I mean,
yeah, right.
Everything can be taken a step too far, and I mean, it's kind of picture like Cyberpunk 2077, like hacking people's brains. Yeah, there's always that possibility, but like you can hack someone's brain without technology, brainwashing and all that sort of stuff. So maybe it'll be a safeguard against stuff like that. I don't know.
I think that type of thing is pretty exciting. If you know,
Yeah.
if they use it that way, I think that'd be absolutely awesome. And it's like bloody DNA engineering. Like some people have a real big vendetta
playing
against
God.
that, but I'm just like, well, if you could, yeah, it is playing God, but at the same time, it's like if you could engineer so you know you don't have those cancer cells that are, or however it works, like a specific gene that's perceptive to cancer or something like that. I'm like, oh, is that such a horrible thing? Or, you know, if somebody's born of disabilities, like that's, you know, that's what my auntie had. She was born with a disability, and you know, she lasted a lot longer than people thought she would without help of things. So, but that's, yeah, I think if there's a way to
is it any different from a prosthetic leg or arm? You know, like where do you sort of where's the line get drawn? That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, well, my biggest fear, which I've always told people, is like my biggest fear is being able to do something one day, then not being able to do it the next day, like something as simple as walking or something. Like I have a pretty good life, so like if my quality of life dropped significantly, or you know I couldn't do something as simple as just walk down to the store, I'll be, I don't know, that kind of thing scares me, and anything that helps it is all right in my book. I reckon.
That's true. The only thing is like when it comes to like your mental capacity, like I don't know if it'll work the same for depression and anxiety and stuff like that, but I kind of feel like that's something that everyone needs to go through on their own, you know, hit rock bottom and then fight, you know, claw your way back up.
Oh,
I don't think.
Absolutely. I think that's where people get a bit caught off because they don't, I won't say some people don't deal with it. Like,
yeah, life's not meant to be easy. It's just,
no,
it's meant to be a challenge.
absolutely not. And I think that's why, you know, some people learn to deal with it better. Some people will always have mental health issues. Like I have it in my family.
Yeah.
I think people will always have it, but you know, if I talk to any of them, they always say, you know, yeah, I did hit this point in my life, and you know, you learn to deal with it. And then once you learn to deal with it, then you can apply that the next time something like that happens, like an episode or something like that. So if you don't learn to deal with it that first time or hit rock bottom, then how the hell are you meant to deal with it the next time that it happens?
Yeah, that's
you just
right.
be going in an endless cycle, like just sitting on bloody, you know, really strong drugs for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Is it really a cure? Not that they'll never not be on drugs, but I think there's certain ones that people could avoid.
For sure. Mate, it's been so good talking to you and having you on today.
Yeah, you too, mate.
I'm not sure
Finally made it.
Yeah, I'm not sure we really had an agenda, but we talked about some good things. So,
yeah, I'm surprised how long it's been going on for. I'm starting to cook in my room now. It's getting that afternoon sun.
Yeah, I was like looking for the aircon remote before, and it's just out of reach, so I didn't want to move off camera. So, mate, keep doing you, good, and we'll catch up real soon in the flesh, hopefully. But you know, if not, I'll see you.
Most definitely.
I'll see you cruising around the plains of Azeroth, I'm sure.
Yeah, that or in the Black Forest, mate.
Yeah, come 1v1 me, man.
Well, see you.
Hey, you got any socials that you want to plug before we cruise?
Any socials?
Yeah.
I don't have any social media anymore, mate. Oh no, I do. I got some.
Little private boy.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't. Oh, that's why I always feared about this podcast. I don't like talking about myself too much. I like to keep pretty quiet about most things.
That's fair enough, dude. I like to ask people at the end, guys. You can find us pretty much everywhere at To Be Honest now. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on YouTube, all that good stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. I hate asking, but you know, it helps us out and keeps us keen. I love
follow the Mad Lads. I'll tell you what, there's nothing better now that you're on Spotify is hopping on the train and putting you guys on, whoever you got on it as a guest, or if it's just you and Jake. It's always nice to listen, because that's another thing I think is you can just listen to you guys. It's like having a chat with you guys, except not being able to say anything.
Not serious. Man, it's been surprising, like the people from school and stuff that have said that they've listened, and they're just like, it's so good to see you doing well. And, you know, you don't really know what people are up to, you know, except for an Instagram picture here or there. And it's not a full story.
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone means well for the next person. So that's always good.
It is, man. It's very surprising. Very surprising. Anyway, dude, thanks again. Hey, I'm sure I'll see you again shortly.
All right, mate. Sounds good. See
Love
you
you, mate. Boy.
Love you too. Bye.